The game might be over, but we're just getting started. Welcome to the ToddFox Postgame podcast, your go-to spot for real, unfiltered Angels talk, win or lose, on the Halos in the Infield Network. You never know what's going to happen. Walk-offs, meltdowns, heroics, or straight-up typical Angels disasters. We're breaking it all down. Who stepped up and took home the Golden Stamos, the most prestigious award in baseball? And who embarrassed themselves so badly they're stuck with the dreaded Nacho Night Award? Drop your comments, call in, and sound off. We're reading them all. So like, share, subscribe, and buckle up, because this show pulls no punches. And yes, Anthony Rendon is still a fragile little bitch. Take it away, Todd.
I'm a fox. My name's Todd.
Hey, welcome in everybody to the Halos in the Infield postgame show by the fans, for the fans. That is the moniker that we like to use around here because we are not a show that just gets handed everything. We earn every follower. We earn your respect by you respecting the game as we do. We are fans. We take it to the stadium, unlike other people who don't show up and cover the game from afar and never know what it's like to go eat a crappy Hoffy hot dog at Angel Stadium or endure a long day with Roger Lodge going, oh my God, and just hemorrhaging over everybody, making everything god-awful. And then Trent Rush going, hey. And I spent 10 hours today at Anaheim Stadium from the red carpet stuff all the way through to the game where the Angels fall 8-6. So that's why we're getting a bit of a late post game here. So I applaud everybody still up at this time to come in on the show and to comment. We will read all the comments like we always do. We're fan friendly. We're fan first because it's by the fans, for the fans. And stay tuned for more stuff that we're going to talk about on April 19th for our tailgate at Bruheim. But with that being said, people, this was a tough game tonight. The Angels go down 8-6, 8 runs, 10 hits, 1 error for the the Ohio shit fucks. And the Angels had 6 runs, 12 hits, no errors. If you're new to the show and don't know why I call them that, it's because, come on, dude. Like, again, I'm 20 to 25% Native American. I don't approve of the name change. It's all politics. It's all stupid. Whenever politics and other crap have been brought into sports, it ruins it. So I think that's part of it. If you don't agree with the Chief Wahoo, I could see where that's kind of a bad look for Cleveland in general. They should have kept the name Indians, but maybe went to something more heroic or just don't show an Indian, show the sea like they had tonight. But I don't like that little guardianship or whatever the hell they're trying to do. Anyway, from start to finish, it was a great day. If you can get away from the cheese that was AM 830 hosting that show, the crappy DJ and JoJo, I thought the fans had a good time. They were down there. It was a good atmosphere. The game, obviously getting there, sitting in the suite. We were there tonight. We were right behind home plate. My daughter caught a foul ball. That was awesome. And, she's part of the special needs baseball, that plays in the league and stuff. And she was featured on the Jumbotron. So all in all for her, it was a great night. She got all the, the claps from the fans when she caught the ball. It was really cool. And as far as that, I ran into a lot of people. It was really nice. The game was good for a few innings, at least till the 6th inning. And then it got out of hand. It was 4-4, and we were still thinking this game was going to be an Angels victory. Now, I'm going to get into the stats and what happened here tonight. Taylor Ward, again, this is why I don't like him at leadoff. Now, the numbers kind of say they do. Me and Rob have gone back and forth with this. You don't want a prototypical guy. I mean, you want a guy who can see pitches and move guys over, get on base, high percentage guy if he can, but he was 0 for 5 tonight with 2 strikeouts. Even when he gets on, he's a liability to get run out of the inning because of a double play, right? So you have him at number 2, which last year he was protecting Trout at 3 or 4, and you have Mike Trout at 2. And this game went kind of crazy because you had in the first inning, Ramirez, again, we didn't think he was going to have this type of night, but if you follow the Cleveland shitfucks or the Ohio shitfucks, they literally own the Angels pitching. They really have A guy like Ramirez, Naylor brothers. I think the Naylor left Angel the Ohio last year, from last season. So he's now no longer with him, but his brother was there, the catcher, the less talented Naylor. Usually the other Naylor, and then all of a sudden Ramirez were the guys who would tear up the Angels on a nightly basis, but not this time. It wound up being Ramirez, and Ramirez hit a home run to make it 1-0. Then Mike Trout went deep to right center field to make it 1-1. And then Rocchio doubled to center. Arias barely beat the throw home to make it 2-1. That was a bang play at the plate. That's exciting. Plays like that are exciting. I love plays like that. Then you had Shonawell single to center. Trout scored. That was a clutch hit by Shonawell. You like to see that. It was 2-2. And then Steve Elise was right next to me saying, "Oh, Adele sucks. And he came through with a single. She was the first one to be like, "Hey, I got to eat crow on that one." And the Angels went up 4-2 at that point. You're thinking, okay, it's opening day. You got through the festivities. Artie wasn't shown on the Jumbotron. You just had like a really nice introduction. And was the best part of that introduction was last year with Rendon getting booed and Artie getting booed. Artie wanted, like, he had Gene Autry all over that sucker. He didn't have himself on there one iota. But they did put Ohtani's accomplishments up there on the Jumbotron. And every time they showed Ohtani, he got booed relentlessly. You got to love that. So with that being said, the game moved on. It was 4-2. Again, you're thinking everything's okay. Soriano's struggling a little bit, but he's striking out a lot of guys. So he's throwing a lot of pitches in between the walks and hits. All of a sudden, Ramirez comes up with a tying man on, and boom, over Mike Trout's head again. It's 4-4. And then questionable things start to happen. Yes, questionable things start to happen. Zephyr John helps Soriano get out of an inning, correct? And he then only pitches a third of an inning because he leaves the game with a hamstring. Then Detmers, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, people, but Detmers, in my opinion, not in my opinion, but from what I've heard, was thrown into that long man type of mentality where he's got to get the ball. And if it's a tie ball game, keep it tied. If they're down 2 runs, keep it to, basically be a stopgap guy. So you either realize later in the game in the 8th and 9th inning, the game's out of hand or you're not in a good situation. Or, if he's got to come in early to keep the lead or whatever, he has that where he's usually in there to pitch 2 or 3 innings. That's supposed to be his role. But the last 2 times Ron Washington has called on him for just a third of an inning. And in my opinion, in Steve Elise's opinion, and by this time, when you finish that 6th inning, there's 3 innings left. Why not have Detmers just eat up the last couple innings, and see where you're at in the 9th inning, whether you need another pitcher or you can go with a closer if you've gotten the lead. I hated the fact that they went to Detmers and just pulled the plug real quick and then throwing a guy, again, Caden Dana is a starter, and you brought him up for emergency reasons to just come out of the bullpen, which he's not accustomed to, in a game that is still close. That it didn't make any sense. And the one hit that Detmers gave up was a ground ball hit to Moncada that Moncada should have got on the backhand. If you have Renifo playing third or Kyron Paris over at second, Renifo playing third, I think Renifo makes that play. I've seen him do that spin move several times. And Moncada booted 2 tonight. 2 costly ones, too, that cost the Angels. That cost him 2 runs. That cost them the lead. And that to me was very difficult to watch because I'm like, dude, this was not a well-pitched game, but this was a game that was really good and back and forth at that point. And that hit just kind of killed it. Then you had Manzado hit a sacrifice fly to make it 7-4. And again, if you weren't there at the stadium, like most other podcasts, especially the other one, I'm not going to mention names. The whole production of being at the stadium is sometimes, look, there's a lot of Angel fans, like him or hate him. They love the rally monkey still. And there was no rally monkey in this game. and this game was close. And so you had no rally monkey. The Angels went down again. Not saying that's what it was, but ninth inning, Ramirez comes in, hits a home run, his third. So 2 straight games in a row, your bullpen combined with your starter has allowed one guy to do the bulk of the damage, 3 home runs on back-to-back nights, or at least, back-to-back games. Then you had O'Hoppe have a good at-bat in the 9th inning. He hit a home run. Then Paris got into scoring position. Adele doubled him in. And it figures that the spark plug coming off the bench goes 2 for 2 plus being hit. They're not saying that this game could have been different, but this game could have been different because you had some holes in this lineup. And let's talk about it real quick. Taylor Ward, 0 for 5. You weren't going to bench him. Fine. But you have Mike Nelson Trout with a home run, 2 runs scored. Soler had 4 strikeouts. He had the golden sombrero at his home opening debut. Minkata went 1 for 3 and a strikeout and a walk. And you're like, well, that's not bad, Todd. He reached base twice. But he had 2 costly errors. Logan O'Hoppe had that weren't, look, the Angels had 0 errors. They should have had 2. Logan O'Hoppe, 2 for 4, including a home run, but 2 more strikeouts. Sean Owell went 1 for 4. Louis Renifo went 1 for 2 before leaving. And again, Kyron Paris went 2 for 2 and 3 at-bats, including a hits batsman. Adele's numbers overall, if you don't take in consideration that him and Newman had 2 opportunities with the bases loaded and did nothing. Now, at least Adele came through in one of those situations. He actually had the bases loaded 3 times. He had a single that would knock in 2 runs, but he also would hit a double later in the game. So his stats don't look bad, but in 2 other crucial situations, he did not come through, including a strikeout and I believe a long fly out. The long fly out, I really don't, kill him too much because he gave it a ride. He could have tied the game at the time. He hit warning track power on that one. Newman is the guy you look at. He went 1 for 4 and 2 strikeouts. Those 2 strikeouts were crucial with the bases loaded situations and RBI chances. So if you look at the overall numbers tonight, again, here's what happens when the Angels don't, they have 10 or more strikeouts, meaning, double-digit strikeouts. They lose. They had 14 Ks tonight as a team, 4 of which coming from Soler. Runners in scoring position. This tells the tape of the game. First off, 2 things. This means they were getting guys on base because this was a 3-hour game. So both teams were putting guys on base. But if you look at it, the Angels were only 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position. Yes, 3 for 15, including 12 left on base. So they had their opportunities in this game to get ahead and stay ahead, and they couldn't do it. And I think a lot of it came down to clutch hitting, and also the Indians / shitfucks did their job. I mean, look at what their pitching situation did tonight. If you weren't paying attention, they just did it inning by inning. You had 7 different pitchers. Williams got the start. He allowed 4 runs and 5 hits, 75 pitches for him. So he did not factor in the win. Junis pitched an inning. Heron would actually get the win as he pitched an inning and had 2 strikeouts, only threw 23 pitches. But they did sort of an analytics game today with a bullpen, and it got the job done. Sewald came in, Gaddis, Clase, the closer, came in. So they did what they had to do tonight. They did throw way more pitches. So the Angels didn't win despite throwing only 171 pitches. The Ohio team almost threw 200 pitches tonight. So it was a sellout crowd. You had no, there was someone that told me, I forget who said it, that they walked right by Artie Moreno. Artie actually came into the stadium, but we looked everywhere for him. And in the suites, he wasn't there, wasn't on the Jumbotron. So he knows he's a hated man. Like I said, the festivities were good. The atmosphere was great until the Ohio team took the lead, and you saw Soriano leave the game. If you look at the team, again, 3 innings pitched for Dana as he, again, Detmir should be your mop-up dude. He should be the mop-up dude. Instead, you had Caden Dana throw 56 pitches, and they're probably going to throw him right back to the minors. They really are. They're going to throw him back there because Johnson had a baby, so they're going to probably, say, oh, he can't pitch tomorrow. Dana pitched yesterday, so that'll be one less guy in the bullpen. They might do that again with Detmers and say he can't pitch. Now we got to see if Zephyr John goes on the IL, and then we also got to see if Renifo, again, this is what we hate about Renifo. We love the guy because defensively he's solid. He's fast. He's a good defensive player as well, and a good hitter. But the problem is the dude can never stay healthy, whether he gets injured, surgery on his leg or whatever. He could just not stay healthy, and it is very frustrating because you can see the talent is there, and he could just never stay on the field. So the Angels lose 8-6. Let's try to get into these awards and talk about what happened here tonight. And, the Angels lose. It's not a buttercup loss because they didn't, well, you know what? It's when it's a buttercup loss, they had the lead and blew it. So you know what? When they lose start to finish, we play the awards. It's the John Stamos Award because Roger Lodge loves him some John Stamos, and he loves his Golden Stamos. So the Golden Stamos will go to... Stamos Award has to go to none other than Ramirez from the freaking Ohio team. He goes 3 for 4 RBIs, 3 home runs. I mean, he had no home runs coming into tonight's game, and he hits 1, 2, and 3 against your Halos. Again, a guy who just loves Angels pitching. I'm tired of seeing that cocky look on his face. If you know from last year and the year before, the guy just mashes Angels hitting. And it's like my dad said when we walked in, why the heck would you pitch to him? Why the heck would you throw the same sinker? So, I mean, it's not the same pitches, but it's just, man, I mean, he likes to golf him, and he golfed him out 3 times tonight. So he is your player of the game. I hate giving that to, the opponent, but God damn it. I mean, you can't knock it right now. The Nacho Night Award can go to several players tonight, unfortunately. And it can even go to a manager, if you know where I'm going with this. So let's go to the Nacho Night Award.
Nacho Night, oh yeah, Nacho Night. Pile it up, load it high. Extra shame, all the pride. Grab a fork, take a dive. Dignity's gone, but the cheese survived. Moldy cheese, stale chips, what a sight. All your dreams gone tonight. Had a bad night, lost the fight. No more crunch, just take a bite. It's the Nacho Night Award.
The Nacho Night can go to several players tonight, as I thank those on TikTok right now. They're talking about being a Padres fan, but still liking the Angels, and also we need Paris in there every day, and I think that's part of it. I want to give Johnny Washington the Nacho Night Award for not playing the spark plug. That is Kyron Paris. Again, if you have a hot player, why do you think in hockey, the goalie, when they're hot, a mediocre team can ride that hot goalie to a Stanley Cup final? In the NBA, you got a hot shooter. You ride that ball player till he can't make a bucket. In football, you got a hot player, which is a quarterback, running back, whatever. You utilize that person. Even though there's a team around him, you find ways to get that person the ball. In baseball, if a dude is hot, you find a spot for him in the lineup. You don't just keep saying, well, the analytics say Adele should start in center field. The analytics say Mancada should be at third base. The analytics say that Renifo should be at second base. No, Kyron Paris can play 4 different positions, 6 if you count all outfield. So why the hell do you not find a spot for a guy who brings A, speed, B, singles and the home run threat, C, and also can play good defense no matter where he's at, and he just elevates everybody. It's a small sample size. I get it. But if he's this hot, why are you trying to screw his growth by then sitting him behind guys who are not hitting their weight? Again, it took 7 games for Newman to get his first hit when you have Kyron Paris batting damn near 500. So that's my problem. But do I give it to Johnny Washington? No, I'm a pass on that. Do I give it to Jorge Soler, who came up tonight and was whiffing worse than any other hitter I've seen out there? 1 for 5, 4 freaking Ks. And usually 4 Ks is enough to get you a heaping pile of Ebola chicken nachos, just rotten, filthy nachos with cockroaches infested. Dude, but I can't. Because I think if you had Louis Renifo over there, I can't say Kyron Paris would have made the play at third. I don't know if he's Renifo's status as far as defense. But I know damn well if Renifo's playing over there at third base, he makes that play, he keeps it in the infield, and he throws the forced play to second or goes to first to end the inning, and we're tied, and it is still anyone's freaking ball game. That ball went off of his glove. That was it. But I will give the Angels this. What we wanted in preseason and last year, building to this year, we just wanted a competitive team. We didn't want to just, because we've seen it too many times before, the Angels get punched in the mouth, they get kicked in the groin or whatever, and they're done. They roll over and they die. And you could say, well, Todd, they did roll over and die from the 3rd inning onward. However, in the 9th inning, they were at least able to make it close. But I think 2 things failed them tonight. It was the coaching, starting from not playing Paris to the mismanagement of that bullpen. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I really don't know what they're doing. I'm not asking for freaking Joyce and Jansen, but you got to go to better arms, and you got to keep Detmers in there, especially with Zephyr John going down. I understand Zephyr John would have did the inning, and then you could have went to Detmers, but if you put Detmers in there for Zephyr John, let him go. Keep him going. Don't then throw the rookie out there to get pounded and further stunt his growth. So with, again, all that being said, I'm giving this one to Moncada because Newman could have been it. And, you could put up a fight for Adele, but I'm going to give it to Moncada, man. Two bad errors and some bad at-bats too. So he gets the nachos tonight. And let's just check some of these comments here as we move forward, because we got a lot of comments. I hope let me know in the comments if you guys were at the game tonight and were there in person, because I imagine all of you guys were able to watch it. YouTube fan says, even though they lost, it's Spritz o'clock, right, Arnie? So Spritz o'clock goes to our boy YouTube fan, and that it means only one thing.
O'clock, Angels play. Win or lose, we toast today. Sip and cheer, no matter score. Spritz o'clock, let's pour some more. Spritz o'clock, let's pour some more.
Marty checks in with, we don't start Paris, the hottest angel presently. What the hell is going on? I think he's asking for this soundbite because it's from Lombardi, the famous NFL coach. What the hell's going on out here? Exactly. Also, Rye Guy says, fuck Hugh Homer. Yeah, Homer is, where is it? I have to look for that soundbite. That's way down here. Hold on. Or maybe it is. Hold on. See, now you got me looking for one I hadn't had, fired up here. I had it somewhere around here. Hold on. I got to find it. Here it is.
Yeah, Mo, that team sure did suck last night. They just plain sucked. I've seen teams suck before, but they were the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
There you go. Tyler says balls, and Trout catching up to the high fastball. Yeah, he's kind of in fuego right now, which is very nice to see him hit some home runs.
For you to check out what I want. I want balls and John
Mike Trout. Also, Right Guy says yet another player to have a 3 home run night. Q Lombardi. Lombardi, I think, is going to get stretched out for this one.
What the hell's going on out here?
Exactly. Grillmaster's late on the spritz clock. U2 says, why do the Angels sit their hottest players for fucking shitty players? This is why they lose. What the hell is going on out here? And again, Lombardi.
What the hell's going on out here?
Exactly. Angels baseball is back, number 6 says. Dan Rios says Moncada sucks. Robert was there. He says, fuck Moncada. Routine plays. Makes me pissed off. Rendon neither can hit Paris to third base. Grillmaster says, god-awful umpiring tonight. Clint Vonderick, what a disgrace to the game. Missed 15 to 20 calls from both sides. You know what? And I will say this, Grillmaster, and I forgot about that. That played a huge role tonight. The strike zone was all over the place. I mean, all over the place. Grillmaster was pissed off sending me messages during the game. So the strike zone was stupid tonight. It really was. Grillmaster also says DFA Newman. Tamir 20 says, as soon as Renifo and Zephyr John got hurt, the domino effects just started to happen. Over there on TikTok, Angels eliminated from playoff contention. Number 6 says, I could have made that play. Mercado is doo-doo. Also, you got players talking crap in here. DFA, Detmers, and Dana. Jesus says, Newman is garbage. Rye Guy checks in with, was Waldo, a.k.a. Artie, at the game tonight? He was, but nowhere near a camera. Marty says, can we start with some Terry Smith jokes? What a disappointing home opener. And you know what? I did. But the funny thing about that, I interviewed Terry Smith in the flesh. Me and Vetter caught him. Robert also says, does Wash know we can intentionally walk players without throwing a pitch? I'm not sure he does. Why is Dana not in the minors? He got called up because I think one of the players had a baby, so he went on maternity leave. So he got called up in an emergency situation, but again, does not justify him coming in a close game. Robert says, Todd almost got his head taken off by the foul ball. We should have brawled today, Todd. Yeah, we should have. Halo Joe says, Roger and Trent are so annoying. They sure are. Rye Guy says, buttercupped to the Ohio baseball team. We sure were. Also, Hunter checking in with, what's up? What's good? Little Wayne says, Moncada to new third baseman, same soft IL injury-prone position. Yeah, we can't keep anyone over there. Don Hammond says, what's up, big bro? Another tough one tonight. Man, Ron Washington is getting boneheaded with these decisions he is making. And Don, you know, there's several fans that are starting to get a little tired of him. Dan Rios says, Newman sucks, but the defense has been stellar. DFA Moncada. Also, Nacho Knight should go to Vonderick. The umpires, Soler, Moncada, Ward, and Adele. Rye Guy says so many scoring opportunities squandered. And this is the thing we were talking about. You know, last year we weren't able to generate these scoring opportunities. This year we're generating the scoring opportunities, but once again, the Achilles heel of this team is not getting hits with runners in scoring position. You saw a couple of instances where it did come through. You saw, again, Shonawell, dude, come through with a single with 2 out, and then you saw Joe Adele come through with a big clutch hit. But that just is false, like it's fool's gold, because there was several other opportunities. Leaving 12 men on base says that you left 12 men on base. You could not come through when you really needed to. Nick Tate says, I was in section 114 with my mom. As soon as we wasted the bases loaded, it was a sign. Exactly, Nick. It really was. Yeah, your daughter was awesome tonight. Thank you so much. She was happy as hell, man. Congrats to your daughter in catching the foul ball. Now she's got that, and that old one I gave her 2 years ago from the tailgate. Yes, that's true. Also, Taylor Ward, legacy game. Also, number 6 says, I'm too good for that team. Dan Rios checks in with, you got to play this, and he usually always asks for it, and I usually give it to him.
There's a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight, which makes me so horny, and me love you long time.
Boy, it didn't sound right, me saying that. Jesus says, Paris for leadoff. I could see that happening, and there's some people that will argue and say, well, Kyrie Paris can hit the ball pretty deep, and he's a home run guy. Well, the way that they're playing Kyron Parrish is usually down in the lineup. So if you start him in the leadoff spot or even in the number 2 spot and stop fucking with Trout and putting him in second, keep Trout at third, have Kyron in front of him and someone behind him, maybe Soler, maybe Ohapi, maybe even Neto, dude. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe you're right, Jesus. Maybe you lead off a guy who's really quick instead of a guy who's slow like Taylor Ward. Yes, Taylor Ward can work walks and he can get on base with singles, but he's not consistent, number one. And number two, he's not fast. A guy like Kyron Paris, who is actually a good spark plug, what do you usually do with spark plugs? You lead them off. You get them as high in the order as you possibly can. So if you were to have Zach Neto back, you put Kyron Paris at 1, you put Neto at 2, you have Trout at 3, and depending on who's hotter, you put either Ohapi or Soler between 4 and 5, and then you go Shonawell 6, you go Adele 7, and then you got 2 other spots you can goof with, either Renifo at 9, or you could play, I know I'm forgetting somebody, Makata 8 or whatever, right? You could do things with this lineup that actually sounds pretty good and keep something consistent, consistent pressure. But knowing the Angels, they'll find some way to screw that up. Number 6 says they don't deserve my greatness. Hunter checks in, says, yeah, Naylor is a D-back. I forgot he went to the D-back. Also, at least Carlos Santana didn't get us go to his evil ways. I see what you did there. Rye Guy says, come back, Tony. JT says Newman is the squid of 2025. Don't disrespect Andrew Velasquez like that. Yeah, where the hell is he since he left the Angels? Also, that umpire tonight was all over the place in the strike zone. He was terrible. Also, Hunter says Adele's double was a rocket. It was, and he almost hit a home run. I'll give him that. Tyler says, they didn't just roll over. Toxic positivity, hashtag. Yes, Marty says your missus is right. Adele does suck. U2 says, here is a fucking idea, Ron Washington. Sit Adele and have Paris lead off. Jesus says, hey, check out the strikeouts by our batters. Yeah, 14 of them, dude. That's more than a baker's dozen. Don says Adele had a pretty solid night, 2 hits and 3 RBIs. Yeah, if you miss the opportunities that he missed the opportunities, if he knocks in one of those opportunities, the Angels, we're talking about a different baseball game. Now, one other thing I was reminded of, we don't have it up yet, but I do want to get a Deo meter. And what do I mean by that? For all those that are new to the show, that means the amount of times that this was played at the stadium. I hate that soundbite with a passion. Somebody say, hey, it's fun, Deo, Ayo. I don't like it. I hate it. I rather hear organ music, anything else except that. I rather hear the Macarena. But no, we played this thing 7 times before the end of the 3rd inning. So I thought, man, we're into a record of Deos for a game. I was consulting with my better half, and I said, hey, how many times what was you think the high last year for Deos in a game at the stadium, because they have nothing else to play? They're not creative. I said, what was it? And she said it was 20. And I'm like, we're damn close. And I thought we were easily going to lap that because already having 7 in the 3rd inning. But the Angels didn't do anything for 4 innings. But then as soon as they started getting guys on base and stuff, you heard over and over. And it actually notched up to 17. And I was pretty impressed, but they fell short of the record. So 17 is your Deo mark for tonight. If anyone's keeping score at home, I don't know why you would, but it's just fun to think that you are. Tyler says, okay, the ump was drinking with Artie before the game. That makes sense. Hunter says, Soriano is high upside, low downside. Future, hopefully he rises. I hope so too. He does show signs of being a hell of a pitcher, but tonight he didn't have it, but he was helped by that strike zone. Ramirez's first homer was a strikeout before he hit the homer. Yeah, that was true. He did get rung up, but not rung up. Silent E says, at least they were able to battle back in this one and make it an exciting game. Last year's team loses this game 8-2. Not a terrible game, all things considered. Useless Trucker says 911 Angels in their new name, always injured Angels. Dana is a AA pitcher, he says, by the way. Also, Grillmaster says Brock Burke should have pitched when Zephyr John came out. Why couldn't we use them? Nobody should have been unavailable due to reasons of our coddling analytical bullshit. We had the off day yesterday. Exactly. None of that matters, but to us, it matters. Number 6 says they couldn't even get a good flyover. Those little old World War II planes were whack. Artie couldn't pay for something bigger. Yeah, those were like crop dusters, man, but it was still cool. It was still cool. Detmer did his job. Mankata shit the bed. Silent E says Mankata cleanup is a joke, and I would play Paris over Newman any day, especially considering Paris is an infielder. Nothing more than Angels than losing the home opener, nor nothing like it. Pitching made no sense from the pen. It did not. Also, Useless Trucker says Joyce next injury. Just watch. Hunter says, I know Dana is young and starter. He's a dog. Also, Rye Guy says we better win the next 2 games the way Washington managed the pen tonight. It was terrible. Also, I live in Vegas now, YouTube fan says, still watching the podcast. Couldn't make the opening day for the first time in years. How was the vibe at the stadium? The vibe was great. It was really great. And again, it lasted to the 4th inning when the vibe fell off the face of the earth because just everything that was happening in the game. Angels were just, you could just feel the game slipping away. Number 6 said, yeah, I'm not giving up on Dana yet, you honkers. Hunter says, I remember that intro. Also, Useless Trucker says Dana needs 6 more years in the minors. Rye Guy loves himself some Deo. Kevin Newman needs to go, J-Dog says. Also, YouTube says they should have put Finley in and Weaver to pitch. I would have went for that. Calling all Angels is great. It really gets us pumped up. It's not bad, actually. Tyler says Squid would have walked us off. There's no Metallica anymore for the older Angel fans. Tamir 20 says these 3 losses were caused by Washington's terrible decisions, and you can't argue that. They were terrible. Fire Adele, Dana, Washington, Anderson, Newman, Soler. Damn. Also, strikeouts are killing the Angels. U2 says I was watching on television, so Soler looks freaking lost. J Ram is the new Tommy. Here we go. MLA says, Mierda. No pinches mama's way. We lost again. So I'm just trying to read it right, and I'm just slaughtering the Spanish. So I appreciate you making me read the Spanish. Don says, I don't get why they keep fucking pitching to Ramirez. Just intentionally walk him. Why do they keep letting him beat them? It makes no sense. And it's true. And here's the thing, too. Way before analytics, the Angels would do that with Jim Thome. Jim Thome used to just love Angels pitching. And it didn't matter if we threw lefties, righties, a Cyclops dude at him. It didn't matter. Jim Thome was an Angel killer. And he did it again tonight with Ramirez. And the city of Cleveland, the state of Ohio, their baseball team, which I refuse to call by their name, they've always killed us, dude. It doesn't matter who they put in there. It doesn't matter who's managing. We just don't stack up with them ever. Number 6 says Darnota's ass cheeks. Matt Theis could smoke the strongest buds around and still be more competent. Marty says Adele ain't that guy. Useless Trucker says send Adele to the Antarctic lead. Patrick says, hey, I know something that'll make you happy. Balls in my mouth.
Time for you to check out what I want. I want balls and John Stamos.
Balls in his mouth. Also, YouTube fan says if you don't want to sit Adele for some reason, sit Soler and start Paris. We do have options. Dana is the new Suarez, I guess. Useless Trucker. Patrick says, I was in section 107 on the third baseline. Great seats. The baseball, though, not so great. Yeah, see, some of you guys should say hi. You should have messaged me. I would have came down. I was up in the Artie booth there. We got hooked up. So Renifo, Mankata, and Zephyr John all getting injured. That's Angels baseball. By the way, I'll be at 260 the rest of the season for the most part. Unless I get hooked up with tickets again, we'll be in 260. Also, J Ram, it's your boy says J Ram is easy player to like, in my opinion. Costly at bats and leaving too many on base hurt us a lot. And Mankata couldn't make simple plays. Shake my head. Brewmaster also says now that is running up my. Oh, jeez. I'm not going to read that one, although that's one of our sound bites. Joe Adele striking out with the runners in scoring position. We are so back. David checks in with what was the purpose of bringing up Caden Dana? The Angels will end up ruining this kid. A very stupid move on Perry's part. This kid belongs in Double-A to learn how to pitch the whole year. And you know what? This is the thing. Caden Dana's got good stuff. And some of you are like, well, no, he's not. He's been getting lit up. Yeah, because of what you said right there. I don't think he needs 6 years in the minors, but he definitely needs a full year under his belt to marinate down there and to, yes, to his point, make good pitches, find himself, find what makes him work, use the analytics that were forced down his throat to then find a game plan to move forward and better himself as a pitcher. But he can't do that if he's being yanked up and down, and that's what we do as a stupid organization. Steve Lease was right there. She says, what a game. She's very proud of her daughter tonight. New Angels logo on the hats, Band-Aid from the Double-A. That should be our, what is it called? Our City Connects. Marty says, Artie was there at the bar. Useless Trucker says, watch. Dana will become a starter. Ron will do it. Grillmaster says, hey, Ryan Johnson, congratulations on sex. You've gotten more than me. Oh, God, I don't need to know that. Ron found a new snow plug and some hookers. Also, Band-Aid on the Angels hat. I like it. James says, I wonder if I'll get a Nachos award for leaving early. No, because they did not win. So James Gonzalez was there. Hats off to him. He was over there at the bar with us as well, hanging out as always. Gotta love the chair. And gotta love the star of our Around the League show here on YouTube. He does a hell of a job breaking down this week in baseball. Patrick Carrillo says Artie was in the owner's suite next to 120. I didn't see him. Maybe it's because he was just below us. The only buttercup I love is Reese's. Also, Useless Trucker says they need a fundraiser to stop Angels from getting hurt campaign. I would pitch in for that. James Gonzalez says Ramirez is so underrated. Patrick says Artie Moreno gets the nachos. Useless Trucker says they should interview Rendon. Those go well. Also, Rendon fires back with any get sick yet from the Hoffy hot dogs and stale nachos. I partook in one, so far so good, but I'm guarantee you probably in the middle of the night I've got some chorro. Botched Investigation says Angels got buttercupped again tonight. James checks back in with Angels shopping at Goodwill for these players like Johan Moncada. Ron Washington is so incredibly awful at lineup construction. It's painful. Useless Trucker says Trout will be injured by next week. Josh says, I give a Nacho Night award to the tornado that nearly took me out. Yeah, Josh was real close to those tornadoes in St. Louis. So shout out to him and his mom for getting out of the way because they were no joke. And he was messaging me. I couldn't get back to him right away, but I let him know, like, damn. Because he was like, why are they playing this game? And I'm like, green, baby, green, the money. Saucy says this team got outmanaged today. Again. And that's, again, you're talking about a lifer who got outmanaged. You know, Ron Washington is a legend, but he is not coaching or managing like a legend here in Anaheim / Los Angeles / the Republic of China. JM says we need more experienced relievers. Yeah, dude, if you look at our bullpen, Joyce is probably the most experienced out of the young guys. And then you just got a bunch of either guys we've picked up that were former first-round picks, Rule 5 guys, and Kenley Jansen. I mean, it does not – I mean, like I told my dad, these guys got the stuff to make a difference, but they will be bad at times. I mean, this is not a bullpen where you're just like, all right, we're good. We get to the 6th inning, 7th inning, we're good. You know, the back end of the bullpen, no, because you can't even do that because of the analytics. Because even if you do get 3 good starts in a row, right? And you're like, all right, cool. It's set up for Joyce. You know, maybe if you think Zephyr John is a 7th inning guy, yeah, it's set up for Zephyr John, Joyce, and then your boy Jansen, right? And you're confident. But no, it doesn't happen that way because what happens? These guys, they pitched last night, so you can't pitch them tonight. Their arms will fall off. So, yeah, that's what starts to happen. You really don't have a bullpen that you're able to sit back and enjoy and say, okay, I'm okay with that. You got a lot of youth and a lot of inexperience and a lot of guys on the that just doesn't make sense. Joshua over on TikTok says we need to start Paris from the start, and that's the thing. I mean, we were at the goddamn red carpet, and you had, you know, like our boy Roger Lodge actually asked a hard-hitting question, said, hey, Ronnie Washington, is Kyron Paris going to play tonight? And he's like, well, I don't think he's going to play tonight. We didn't schedule him in the lineup. As soon as he said that, an entire side of the red carpet was like, we want Paris. We want Paris. And they were chanting that. And then, Roger goes, yeah, why isn't Paris playing tonight? And then Ron Washington was like, well, it just doesn't fit the mold what we want to do tonight. He's not in the lineup because we decided that, he's not ready to go against a starting pitcher tonight. It's like, make it make sense, bro. Like anything you're saying right now, out the window. Doesn't make any sense. Useless Trucker says, Adele Hell, I guess we ignored last year's problems. Also, Botched Investigation says Trout must have had a record or have the record for most home runs with no base runners on. He's Captain Solo. He sure is. Also, Soler is already a liability. He's a streaky hitter, and that's exactly what we don't need in this team. Desert Lux Group says, hashtag only pain. Can we get the Moose back? Number 6 says, I think he retired. Trout limped off the outfield. Look out. Also, Marty says, agree 110% with Todd's hot take on Paris. Desert says, yo, why the fuck is Detmers only pitching 15? I don't know. Again, this is a guy who's supposed to be a emergency starter / long reliever in a situation where the starter can't go. He gets roughed up, or the starter blows out the other team, and you go to have someone mop up. That's what he's supposed to be doing. It just doesn't make any sense. So Kevin over here on TikTok says, Yankee fan, but I think the Angels are a sneaky team this year. Well, I hope you're right, Kevin, in a lousy-ass division too. Because if the Angels could get their shit together, this actually could be a fun team to watch. The problem is they have a hard time getting their shit together, and that's why they lose games like this due to managing and everything else.
Well, then get your shit together. Get it all together and put it in a backpack. All your shit, so it's together. And if you got to take it somewhere, take it somewhere, Take it to the shit store and sell it. Or put it in a shit museum. I don't care what you do. You just got to get it together. Get your shit together.
Joshua also asks, is it real that Trout is limping? I can't confirm anything on that, so we'll have to see if there's anything that comes out of that. Also, Wash said that he doesn't think any of the 3 players will go on the IL. He said Ronifa will probably play tomorrow. Mancata won't. Well, he shouldn't play at all. You better get Paris on the field. Taylor Ward went 0-for-5. Desert says Wash is back on the crack. Robert says mind and body their soul was gone after the 6th inning. It did take off there. Also, Jay says too many rookies in the bullpen. We need a vet in there. Dude, you ain't lying, JR 71714. I'm tripping on it, man. I really am. Angels will Angels all season long, Botch says. Patrick says, what section were you in? I didn't see you. I was looking for the clown. Well, Patrick, the clown will be there next homestand. Star Wars, while everyone's getting their Jedi on and the May 4th be with you and all that stupid crap, I'm going to be walking around with a clown outfit on, and I'm going to be talking like, hey guys, how's it going? So that's going to kill my voice. But I was up above the press boxes in the suites. By the way, what happened to the old Spritz O'Clock song? The old one is better. I'm sorry, Jay, but we have to improve. J-Dog says, turned off the TV after a Makata's bum-ass missed ground ball. Also, Robert says, we need to sign David Robertson. Again, there's veteran help out there. You guys are all making sense. Can we just email our fearless leader or the guy that is in charge of everything, which is Manassian, or as another state, I was going to say station, another podcast calls him Potassium. Patrick Carrillo says 7-1 for tickets, 7-1 for tickets. Also, Salvador says about 8 Deos counted. Dude, you missed like 9 more. Also, Grillmaster says Reed Detmers and Kana Dana, ball 4, ball 8, soundboard. Exactly. Then that goes all to this legend, which I love that they put this on the what is it called? They put this on the Jumbotron for the great what's his name? God, Bob Uecker.
Ball 4, ball 8. Low, and Vaughn has walked the bases loaded on 12 straight pitches. Boy, how can these guys lay off pitches that close?
Yeah, he passed away. That baseball does miss him big time. Also, CYG14 on TikTok says you've seen the fights. I didn't see any of the fights. I just know it was pretty damn crowded, and there was bound to be a fight to break out, especially by the Modelo area. Man, you couldn't even walk through there without accidentally bumping into somebody. It was really bad. Let's see. Also, you have Useless Trucker says Ron will start Dana next week and send Paris to the minors. It's your boy says umps didn't help tonight, but man, simple mistakes, leaving too many guys on base. Ramirez was taking batting practice tonight. He was. Also, Botch says Roger Lodge is the most pathetic, fake, optimistic homer ever. We don't believe Lodge and his fake positive rants. I'm glad. Also, Joshua says Moncada gave no effort for that foul ball. I swear he didn't. Useless Trumpeter says umps and drunks and gamblers selling Angels out. Don Hammond says let's bounce back tomorrow and get back on track. I'm all for that, dude, because I don't want to go 4-4. I want to take this series. If there's any way to get this series, maybe I'm thinking too much the Angels can do, or thinking of too much that they can do. I think they have it in them, but you got to get the right lineup and you got to play right, dude. I mean, they played right into Ohio's hands. Adele is just as bad as Rendon, Steve Elise says. Wow. Botch says Lodge doesn't even believe his own takes on the Angels, or does he? Possibly. Unfiltered finds that funny. Everybody look at the umpire scorecard. He missed 15 to 20 pitches tonight. Midseason form, Unfiltered says. Also, when was the last time we won an opener? All I know is they've lost 11 out of 12 home openers. Useless Trucker says Paris will be sent to a special assignment and miss 20 games to search for Chief Wahoo. Also, it's your boy says, man, there was at least 2 hits that could have been homers or off the wall. That April chill definitely plays a factor. And you're right, because the one that I think was Trout hit and then one that Adele hit, that could have been big-time game changers. I ain't going to lie about that. U2 says Ron Cochran needs to get his head out of his ass. Desert says the offense needs Neto. Boy, you ain't lying. And Neto's starting a really good rehab assignment. I would love to see him up here big time. You interviewed Terry. Were you distracted by his grill, right? I was. I had to look down. I had the mic. I had like one of those mics with our little Heedy logo on it. And I was just asking him a few questions because at first he's like, who are you guys with? And he's like, who are you guys with? And I said, oh, we're Halos in the Infield. And he's like, oh, what do you guys do? And I said, well, Halos in the Infield is a baseball podcast about the Angels. See the little thing right now? I didn't really have to say that, but I told him, and he gave us like 5 good minutes. It was pretty good. You know, he had some good things to say about the team and stuff. So we got the normal Halos stuff, and it was good. We'll have that posted at some point this weekend. Do you think Christian Moore will come up anytime soon? Joshua says, I think he has a real good chance, depending on if this team is hopelessly out of it by June. Other than that, you have too many infielders unless you cut 1 or 2 for him to get called up. I mean, he would really have to be tearing the cover off the ball. Hopefully the Angels are in a situation where they're close to 500, kind of still in the division as far as getting close to first or second place. Then you could just let him sit for 1 more year and really get it going before you have to call him up. M-Doc says, I think Ron Washington is still on the same coke that he was with the Rangers. Rally Chris checks in with, remember what happened when we lost the first game of the season? We won 4 games. So maybe we lost the home opener here and we'll get on a winning streak. I hope so. Unfiltered says we need Tio Tony. Grillmaster says move Award to 8. Parrish, Shonowell, Trout, Solero, Hoppy, Anderson, Adele, Ward, Neto. Useless Trucker says anyone get the banned Angels hat from the MLB? It seems appropriate for this team. Well, if you did, that's worth about $1,500 online. By the way, I just noticed that you were sunburned. Yeah, I got sunburned out there big time. Also, number 6 says the fact that they still say Ayo is so corny. I hate that, dude. Useless Trucker says Ron will figure out a way to bring Suarez back as a starter. Steve Elise, Tyler says Steve Elise didn't rub her man down with the SPF 100. Burn the song Calling All Angels. Change that shit up. 14 Ks. I was drinking. Fun game until that piece of shit Mancada old. Damn the ball tonight. Also, the night wasn't a complete loss. Team Ghetto lost to the Phillies. And that was the thing too, dude. I really was hoping the Angels would win because the Dodgers lost. Mike Trout says, did you see my home run tonight? Yes, I did. Calm down. Let's see. Also, Patrick says 714 tickets. 714 tickets. Use the code Heedy. Exactly. Todd? Did you call Terry Sparky? No, I did not, or he didn't call me Sparky either. The flyover today was way better than a slow ass bomber that took an hour to fly over it. I took a piss, came back, and was still flying over. Jim Tomey Percival game over. Yeah, I remember that one, dude. Also, remember last week when we were all covered in all that honk juice? How the mighty have fallen. Dude, 3 games and this team is in the shitter, dude. It's crazy how fast it can turn, dude. Because you go from that high to just like, man, this sucks, dude.
Emotional damage.
And that's what we're left with. We're left with a ton of emotional damage.
Time for you to check out what I want. I want balls and John Stamos.
Injuries. Also, Matt Thigh says, "Hey Todd, did y'all win tonight? This ass White Sox suck ass. They lost again 2-5. No, Thice, we did not win either. Let's see, y'all. Trout Homer. Cue the fan duel. Yeah, you had a lot of this. Hey, did you see that home run? Hey. Also, I can yank something up and down better than the Angels can, Matt Grillmaster says. Me and my homie were in section 125. I believe the fans around us were so vocal, which was fun. So It's Your Boy had a good time. Hunter says, yo, Byron Rendon got hurt checking into YouTube sources. Tell Roger Lodge and Trent Rush. Also, Big 20 says, yo, I didn't say hi to you at the opener. Say hi to me tomorrow, dude. I was stuck up in the the suite. It was too nice to leave, man. So I apologize. Patrick says, I feel like Perry is going to have to blow up the team at the trade deadline. Look, we've been saying that for the last 3 years, man. I don't think it's going to happen. They're going to somehow retool. Also, they will probably take the Thundersticks away from you if you bring them in again, Mateo says. And I'll try to bring them in, but there's only so many I can get in. I would love to bring in thousands of those suckers because that was the idea when I'm Halo Honk, but it never quite gets done. Also, Neto played 7 innings on the field with the Bees today. DFA Newman soon. I don't know. They gave him a 1-year deal. I think it was $10 million. I might be wrong on that. Maybe it was 7. So I don't know. I would think more of a guy like Tim Anderson would get DFA'd. Don't you dare make fun of Star Wars. I'm sorry. Also, the first 3 stations wasn't entertaining, the first 3 innings. Big 20 says he counted 11 Deos. Patrick says, nice, man. I might go to the game on the 19th for the Millennium Falcon, and I need on my desk. Plus, you guys should come to our tailgate on the 19th. It's going to be very, very fun. Mateo says, it was great seeing Chuck Finley throwing out the first pitch and Weaver catching it. That was pretty dope. Restunning comes back with Halo honking like a MFer. Also, Mateo says, Todd is not Ohio. No, it is Ohio. I've stopped wanting playoffs as an Angels fan. I accepted losing seasons. Boy, Mateo, when I first met you, you were so like optimistic. Boy, have the Angels screwed with you. You should sue them. Mateo says, after it was 7-4, I had to watch it over, or I had to switch over to the Warriors games. Also, Mateo says, Wayne is like, while they meet on the mound, let's hear from the Jack in the Box. Yeah, you had those nice transitions. Desert Lux Group says, who was a guy that set up the Thundersticks a couple years ago and cursed the team? I did not do I believe that was what's that page I always talk shit about? It was the Instagram page. They did one where it was like, all right, we're doing a solid, like, freaking Thundersticks game. I decided to bring them in on another night, and it got back to the Angels brass, and they stopped me. They let them do it, but they stopped us when we tried to bring them in. So I don't know if you're referring to us cursing the team or the other page. Matt Thigh says, I'm going to talk to Nevin that I want to be traded back to my ex-girlfriend to play for the Angels so you can do my voice again. I want to be back in Anaheim. Also, fly ball to left field. Let's take a drive to Honda. Yeah, it's nice to know that nothing has changed. Even though we've changed sponsors and stuff, we still play and then we always go to commercials at the most inopportune times. So I've got to check on two things real quick. I got to see what's going on the other post-game show.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area. How about a yummy tasting nut?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Nah, let's not see if it pays off. But I just thought we'd cross over and check on what they're doing over there. So apparently they got some weird things going on that channel, I guess. They don't really stick to baseball much, I guess. But something about nuts. But we're talking, X's and O's in between the lines. So I just want to make sure we're staying focused. And yes, I am sunburned. I'm getting more burned as we're – Jesus Christ. I'm like getting as red as that jersey behind me. Let's see. Also, I got one other thing to play right now. It's the Underdog app right now. It's one of our commercials.
Hey, Todd, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at the Underdog app sponsored by Halos in the Infield. Actually, you can punch in HITI and get the promo code 20% earnings on your first bet via Underdog, the app. And also, they match 50% up to $1,000 winnings if you place bets. You can put them on players. You can put it on teams. It's a nightly thing. It's so easy to play, but also gamble responsibly. All because of Halos in the Infield and Underdog, the app.
Drillmaster says whopper, whopper, whopper. Salvador says 1 year, 2.75 million. Newman at this point, just DFA. But I didn't know it was that low. So yeah, everything I heard about Newman was he's so good. He's going to provide depth and blah, blah, blah. And don't worry about it. His defense is good. I haven't seen either one yet. Try the smash jack. Nah. Who gets DFA'd, Neto, for when Neto returns, Newman or Anderson? I'd have to say the Angels would land more on Anderson. Anderson really hasn't done anything. So I would bet that Newman would be the guy to stay, but barely. And Anderson would probably get the axe. Because not even Ron Washington likes him, really, if you think about it. Guess that journalist wanted to try these nuts. He did. I mean, I don't know what they talk about over there, but it sure isn't much baseball. It just sounded like just plain old nuts. I mean, I'm looking for the soundbite to match it right now, and I can't find it because man, I got stuck on that one. That was a perfect setup, and I can't. Oh, here it is. So let's try it again. Guess that journalist wanted to try these nuts.
These nuts. Got him!
Got him!
Got him!
Nick House says, hey, Todd, I was at the game tonight and really thought we would win. One question. If you're the manager, what's your 1-9 lineup? I think Mancada is too high. Well, I agree. I went over this earlier. I would have, if I'm going 1-9 right now, I'm leading off Kyron Paris. I'm batting at 2, Louis Renifo, or I'm going I had it earlier set up in my head. I'm going, I can go probably Adele, maybe a 2 if he's hitting. If he's not, you go Renifo. You try to get speed. You go Trout, and then you have, what's it called? You have 4th. You have Ohapi, or you have Soler. Then you got Shonawell. You can go Ward 7 because I would like Ward to have no pressure on him and bat him 7 down the lineup. And you have options. It's just I just don't like how they have it right now. I mean, you usually want to have your spark plug at 1, and I think he would be. Also, Dan Rio says, LA area sell out, Orange County, little bitch. Here's the thing, too, Dan. I mean, none of those dudes come to games. I mean, on that network, none of them do. So they're always, talking a big game, but they're not there. They live up north. Hunter says, nah, I don't gamble responsibly, Todd. Shouldn't gamble at all, kiddo. Desert says, does the team break the curse if they go back to Anaheim Angels instead of the LA Angels? I think they do. I think that's a no-brainer. I think you either got to pick a side, go California Angels, go Los Angeles Angels. And if you haven't heard, the new mayor has made it his first step of, or just first order of business, not to get political, but he just basically says, he came out and made a long-ass thing or email statement, whatever you want to call it, and said that he wants to have a relationship with the Angels again, and he feels that they can come to an agreement on selling the stadium to Artie Moreno, which is what he wants in return. But they've got to come to a common ground, and he's got to do what the Ducks did. The Ducks said, hey, we're Orange County. We're even – not that the Angels would have to change their logo, their jersey to freaking orange like the Ducks did, but they embraced it, and that's why they got that chunk of land, and they're doing their OC vibe thing. What the Angels need to do is readopt California Angels, which they can because it'll be grandfathered in, or they can go back to the Anaheim Angels, which is fine. And you don't have to change. I mean, look, when the Angels first went to this color, if Artie is so hard up on not changing the logo, the colors, he likes the red versus the blue from the north, fine. Just put Anaheim on when they're on the road. That's what they were the first year and a half before he took over. It said Anaheim when they went on the road. That's it. And then when they came home, it just said Angels, just like it does now. And you're the Anaheim Angels. You don't have to do anything to the logo. You don't have to do anything other than change up the road jerseys. And I don't think anyone will bitch. I really don't. But we'll see. I know I was optimistic, but how can I be after 11 seasons of losing? I'm sorry, Mateo. I really thought you were, you were going to be able to see some playoff baseball. Thice is like, dude, Nevin, I can play. Nevin! Grandmaster says, here comes the 2-strike pitch. Now let's get a family 4-pack. Never say sorry, Nick. Also, why is Dumble Ears leading off? I would lead off Paris, then ShamWow, then Trout. That's not bad, but again, I would like ShamWow down on the lineup because he's not fast either. Matt Thice says, I can play better than Newman and Mancada. Also, my lineup, Paris, Shonawell, Trout, Soler, Ohapi, Anderson, Mancada, Adele, Ward, Neto. Yeah, I go back on that. I forgot Neto because he's not in the lineup. I would have Neto bat second behind Paris, and then Trout as protection at 3, and then Ohapi and either Soler or Shonawell. Also, is Taylor Ward good? I think he's very average. Very average. And a very average player like that, put him at 7. Can I just say number 6 is the old box of baking soda in the fridge that we are like, why is it still there? Why is number 6 still taking up a roster? Not only that, he's in a refrigerator in Texas. So he doesn't give 2 shits. He did not mind coming here to stay. I mean, I just believe you will never see him in an Angels uniform ever again. I really don't think you'll ever see him in an Angels uniform. And I don't think anyone's going to be feeling bad about that. Mateo says, I'm glad Kyle Hendricks is on the team. Apparently, he was an Angels fan growing up, and his dad was in the front office. So, with all that being said, we caught up to everybody tonight. It is already freaking midnight, and we're already getting set for tomorrow. So, I appreciate everybody that's on right now. You guys and gals are true freaking troopers. So, what we'll do right now before we get out of here is we will not take phone calls. We will get into tomorrow's game with the Ohio Shitfucks, and that's going to be another 6:38 start. It's going to be Tyler Beebe, who is currently 1-0. He is not allowed to run in 5 2/3 pitched. He has two walks, 2 strikeouts, and 2 hits allowed in those 5 2/3. He will get to start against Jack Kowanowitz, who has a 3 ERA. He is 0-0, 6 innings pitched. He gave up 4 hits and 1 home run in his first start. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow. Don't pitch to Ramirez. Let's try to do that, huh? Perry going to cut Rendon next season. I think he's going to cut him this at the end of this season. That's just my thing. What's crazy is that we are paying him. Well, thank the league on that one, and thank also our awesome Tony Clark as the union manager. That dude has helped ruin baseball big time. He is basically on all of the baseball. He's farted and lots of stuff. We didn't hear too much tonight. There was none of this tonight. We didn't hear, when the season starts or whatever.
We got a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight.
And nobody honked their honk tonight. So we'll just have to see where that goes. moving forward. But hopefully the Angels can get back on the winning streak, because it kind of sucks with them losing. Because we did have a win tonight if the Angels played good.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Yep. Rally Chris says, breaking news, Jose Ramirez just hit another home run. And Grillmaster says, I just farted and did more than Rendon, basically. So with that being said, thank you guys and gals for coming on here. We will do this reset tomorrow. It'll be a little bit later again because I'll be driving home from the game. I'm not like these other schmucks that don't go to the games and just like to call it from afar. So not to say there's anything wrong with that. I mean, you can be a fan and just can't make games, but being there in person and knowing is knowledge, and knowledge is power. G.I. Joe.
Smart thinking.
Now I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe.
There you go. So with that being said, everybody have a good night. Remember, Heedy is by the fans, for the fans. And we thank you for participating in tonight's game. Get your Heedy on when you can, and be on the lookout for some new swag, some shirts and stuff that are going to be hitting online as soon as the homestand's over. I believe Sunday night I'm going to premiere all that stuff. So, and how you can get a shirt. And then also we're going to have the tailgate stuff going. So with all that being said, have a good night. Watch the sponsors and we'll kick you out with the outro. See you tomorrow.
Brought to you by 714 Tickets in Anaheim, your trusted source for Angels tickets at unbeatable prices with no hidden fees. Whether it's home or away, they've got your seat covered. Visit them at 2424 East Catella Avenue, Anaheim, or online at 714tickets.com. Mention HITI and get 10% off your purchase. And Brewheim, Anaheim's premier craft brewery, pouring fresh, locally brewed beers in a welcoming atmosphere for Angels fans and beer lovers alike. Stop by their tap room at 1931 East Right Circle, Anaheim, or check them out at brewheim.com. Mention HITI and get 10% off your tab. The OC Dugout, your one-stop shop for officially licensed Angels memorabilia, custom jersey framing, and exclusive autograph signings with your favorite players. Visit them at 1928 East Center Street, Anaheim, or online at theocdugout.com. Support the businesses that support Halos in the infield.